All right, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth Building for Dummies podcast. My name is Kyle Demian. I'm joined with my usual co-host, Renji Matthew. And then today is a special episode where we have a guest. And Renji, why don't you introduce our guest for us today?
Yeah, this is my brother, Amrinder Kamboj. He is the CEO of Kamboj Ventures, and I'm excited to have him on because you guys will get to see another mentor of mine. We talk about how mentorship is huge and how we have different mentors for different things. And this is one of our mentors that I look up to for getting people out of, debt and getting people into financial freedom. So I'm really excited for you guys to meet Amrinder. And Amrinder, I'm thankful for you to be here, bro. I know you've been traveling like crazy the last several weeks. For those of you that don't know, Amrinder just did a whole event in Cabo just a few weeks ago, and he's been traveling Nashville, Florida. He's a busy man, so we're excited to have him on with us. So let's get started. Amrinder, tell us a little bit about yourself, your history, how you got into business. And I know you started early, so tell us about that.
Well, thank you, Renji. Thank you, Kyle, for having me on you guys' podcast. Looking forward to, get connected to your audience and all that kind of stuff. Let's see where this interview goes. Again, one of the things with me is I'm very open book. We haven't prepared for any of this or anything like that, last minute things, but that's what I like. Like I told Reggie and Kyle in the beginning too when they first joined is I'm an open book. Whatever you guys want to ask me, go for it. There's no bias or anything like that. Whatever I'll give you, I'm just going to give you straight off the bat. But yeah. I started, my dad, he came from India, went to Germany. From Germany, he came to the United States, with nothing. And then from there, he built his business and everything, and then gas station business. So I've always been in the business industry. And then when I had the chance to buy GNC with my former partner, I was 20 years old, bought the GNC, grew that thing up, and then I had my sports nutrition brand. I had that for about 2 years. And got rid of that, and then after that had another location in my second GNC location. So I learned a lot from there when it comes to business. And then then along the way in 2018 I started the e-commerce because what happened was my GNCs were taken down because everybody's buying products online. So I noticed that they would come, open up the Amazon app or some type of other app and scan the barcode and see what product it is, and then see when they can get it and then see the price difference. Now, how are you supposed to compete with something where I'm $20 more than the competitor online? They just have to wait for 2-3 days. It's a no-brainer, right? And then I started shifting into helping my dad with the gas station business, but I hated that because I came from a very heavy sales type of a thing, environment of GNC and helping people out. So I like that challenge of the sales. And over here, the gas station business, like what are the biggest challenges you're going to get? Broken gas pipes and stuff like that, So it was way too easy. So I asked my dad the simple question 2 times. I said, "Hey, Dad, look, the gas stations are doing great and all that kind of stuff, but let's get more. It's your time's done. Your kids are doing their own thing and all that kind of stuff. But let's get some more stuff. Let's build some more foundation off of this." And then Dad said, "No, we're fine with this, and then this will feed my family, your family, and generations to come and all that kind of stuff. We're good with this location." And then a couple of months later, I asked him again the same question. He got mad at me. He was like, "Dude, why you keep asking me the stupid question when I already told you, no, we're going to keep it. I'm trying to help you close, keep calm and control," because he knows I'm a crazy guy. I'm like, go, go, go. And I got places to go, places to be, my vision and all that kind of stuff. So he knew it. So he's trying to keep me controlled and locked. So when I had that, I was like, dude, I can't do this. I was not happy, right? So then I slowly got into the e-commerce, and the e-commerce part of it, I basically had 2 things. Either I buy a course on how to sell online, or I can find somebody who already knows, and then we partner up and go that way. So that's the route I went. Because there's no point in me learning all that when I can just partner with an expert, use my capital, and then go from there. From there, just kind of built up and stuff like that, started learning how business works, money works, learned leadership, sales, marketing, all that kind of stuff, and then built it up to 2018 up until 2024. $250 million in assets, 13 different companies, 8 different countries, and adding more countries, and then getting into business consulting side of it, acquiring bigger brands, bigger companies, partnering up with other people who have a set number of revenue, 25 million and above, so it's fun. It's fun, man. It's been a good journey, a lot of learning, a lot of failure and learning, but that's the thing that I'm doing now is teaching people like yes, there's failure, but you can have the right mentors in your life that'll help you so you don't fail, and they help you every single time, like a holding hand. They're holding your hand, they're guiding you the right way. Remember when we were little kids and our dad would teach us how to ride a bike? Doing that by yourself and you keep failing, it's going to take a lot longer, right? Like I was telling Reggie the other day, this is like you, this is your goal. And that line right there in between, right there, that space is basically the timeline, right? How can we shrink that? That should be your number one goal in life. Either if it's financials, either it's relationship building, whatever it is your whole entire purpose in life should be, this is me, this is my goal. What can I do to shrink that? So that's how I do it. So I invest a lot of money in the personal development, personal education. I spend a lot of money on getting connected to the right people. Like Patrick and David, I've given over $500,000 just this year just to get closer to them, learn from them, from the best. Because like you said, Reggie, I'm your mentor. I don't know how I'm your mentor, but I appreciate that. But like Patrick and David, he's my mentor, right? So whatever I can to learn from him, so I can take myself and my goal and shrink it as much as possible, I'm going to do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You just dropped so many good business tips in the span of, I don't know, what was that, 4 or 5 minutes? But you talked about innovating, people going to online and why you got an e-commerce, which is awesome. And then, the last part there, we talked so much about investing into yourself and investing into courses and training and getting closer to, people that are in the position that you want to be and have the connections, expertise, and so on, and investing into relationships as well. So that's awesome. Now, I'm curious for you, Amrinder, what from your early days and from some of the lessons and maybe failures you've had, what values or philosophies have you carried from your early days and kind of allows you to run and shape how Kamboj Ventures runs today?
So the way I run my company is very like Reggie knows this too. He talks to me almost every single day. Everyone in my organization, we think about their goals. Like Lorenzi, when I first met with him, I didn't talk about anything with the company, how much money he can make or anything like that. It was more about, hey, your husband, you're a father of two beautiful kids. What does your life want to be? How do you want to see your life in the next 5 to 10 years? Right? What type of car, house, the education of your kids, the friends that you're in, what circles are your kids going into, all that stuff. So I was having him visualize that. And the whole purpose of that was, hey, if he can visualize all that and he has enough big goal in his life, if he comes into my organization and I can help him get to that goal again a lot quicker, he's gonna be good with me. We're gonna do great things together. Because growing up, when I had the GNCs and everything too, I did have a partner, but we split in 2000. We split in when I was 23 years old. I was lost. I couldn't go to my dad and ask him for business advice because he's in a completely different thing, right? He's more like, oh, save every single penny. You can't grow a business by saving every single penny. That's not how that stuff works. Number two was you have to work hard on your business. Well, the whole entire life I understood from him was he was working in the business, not on the business, which 75% of the coaching calls I do, that's the number one mistake that everybody makes, is not working on the business, but they're working in the business, So that's one of the things. The other thing is like going back to Renji, talking about his goals, his standards, what he stands for and everything. Just to get to know Renji on a personal level, those are the people. If I can get closer to Reggie on a personal level, I can get to know him, what he stands for. How's he with his wife? How's he with his kids? What kind of father he is? What kind of friend he is, right? I can understand him internally. Now here's the thing. A lot of, and so from my years of 20 years old up to 31 now, all the 11 years I've done business, not once have I ever had a resume in my life. I've never looked at a resume. You can even ask Miguel. He's worked with me at GNC. I've always tossed it up and threw it away. Because think about it, guys. Resume is just a piece of paper. I cannot understand the person at all, personal level. So when I'm going back to what I was saying earlier, you got to know the person on a personal level. You can teach people, right? But you got to identify if the person is a good person or a bad person. Does that make sense? Because you can have a person who is not qualified at the moment, but he's a good person. He's a good listener. He's qualified as far as learning. He's going to be a good student. Bam, you can bring him into an organization and completely change him. Does that make sense?
Yep.
100%.
But now over here, you got a person who has a great resume, but he's cocky as shit because he's like, oh man, I'm XYZ, top performer, XYZ, and all that kind of stuff. How is he going to mold into your organization? Yep. Right? So those are some of the core values that I have. The other thing is too, we talk a lot about standards in our company as far as like what are your standards? These are my standards. So we're very upfront, very straight. Again, like Reggie knows too, I'm 98% Like, you guys can ask me anything about the company. I'll give you the right connections. I can even give you the right numbers so you guys can start the same business that I've started and go, right? I don't care about that. A lot of people ask me that too. Aren't you scared of that? Well, I'm not, because if you're thriving, you're successful, I don't care. You can piggyback off my success too. The only difference is the mindset and the discipline and the grit that I have, right? You got to have the right mindset. You got to have the right grit. Grit meaning like balls, right? Because what we're doing is it's a very ballsy thing, right? And number 3 is discipline. And you got to be very disciplined. And very low people have that. It's either one or the other. You're going to find very 1% of the people in the world are going to have all 3. Does that make sense? And that comes, and then I get asked by Amrit, is how are you so, the way you think, the way you are, how do you get to that level? Well, when you go through a lot of bumps and you've eaten a lot of stuff and you've been hit so many times, you get to the point where you're like, okay, let's go. And then the other thing is too, like I said, like Patrick David, he's like one of my mentors, Grant Cardone, Alex Hormozy, all these big players, right? Ross Mandel, all these guys, right? It's not about how they got there, show me the way. It's more like, what are your failures? Because you're going to learn more from failures from other people than the success story. Now, a lot of folks, even on this podcast who they're viewing this, they're seeing me as a nice suit, the Rolls Royce, the Rolex, the traveling everywhere and stuff like that. But you guys don't know what I've done in the past 6 years of just grinding, barely sleeping, barely seeing my family. Even now today, I don't have to do it, but I'm still doing it. Why? Because Reggie and Kyle, they depend on me. My investors depend on me. If I stop innovating, if I stop thinking big, if I stop doing the crazy partnerships that we're trying to do and all that kind of stuff, how's Reggie going to put more food on his plate? How's he going to get closer to his goals? So I'm a big believer about people, and a lot of organizations, they need to get to know that is people. They have to be people oriented. Again, in Cabo, the only number one thing that I taught everyone is people and relationships. That's the only way you're going to go far. But if you see people as dollar signs, bro, you're not going to be in business any longer. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum, right? But I've always, if you focus on relationship wise, trust me, you'll get much further. And Reggie's, I mean, we talked about them multiple times. I mean, I remember when Reggie, I don't know if you remember, when you first joined, we just started talking. 2 days later, you call Amber, you're like, dude, this guy's a freaking nut job. Da, 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 da. He had a lead. He just gave it to me, closed him, and all kind of stuff. He's like, why? And Amber's like, dude, that's just how he is. He makes money, but he wants to help you make money too. And a lot of people need to do that. So in your organization, if you want to be a good leader, right, you got to make sure that your people are fed. And let me ask you this. How is it fair that I'm driving a Rolls Royce, but I'm not helping you get a better car? Having you get to the success of where you can have a Rolls Royce. How is that? Like Reggie, like you're in the life insurance, and we've talked about this, right? You've had your coaches or whoever your leader was and stuff like that. They're driving the nice cars and everything, but they've never helped you get ahead. Why is that? I don't think that's fair. Like one of my uncles, man, he has restaurants, and he was saying that he was going to get a chef from another state. He was going to buy him a house and have like all the cooks and the people who work in the restaurant, in that house. And he was going to give him a master bedroom and give him like, I don't know, $16 or $17 an hour. And he's going to be happy. I told him, I was like, bro, what do you mean? How the hell is he going to be happy? He is the one that's the main cook. The reason why you get a truck every single year, he's going to see that stuff. Why don't you give him a profit share and be like, dude, I'll give you even a bonus if you get XYZ revenue and everything. Make him part of the company. See him grow. Why are people not looking at other people trying to be successful? Because now, let me ask you, if he did that, and even if it's 5, 10, 15%, he gives them the equity. This, the company's growing and everything. He's growing as well, too. And then this guy right here, the owner, gets more locations. He makes him the manager, and he's a head chef, training all the chefs and stuff like that. Don't you think this guy's going to be loyal to this guy?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's the difference.
This guy has a family to feed. He has kids and everything too, but he sees himself growing into the company.
Yep.
It's
the difference between the scarcity mindset and the abundant mindset. And I see that all the time with you. You are not afraid to be the leader that goes in and works with the people. It's not the type that sits up there and rules, but more being with the people. So that's really cool. Yeah, you keep dropping so many good bombs there. So can you give us a brief overview of Kamboj Ventures? Like, what sets it apart from other businesses in the e-commerce space and investment space?
So we're just not in the e-commerce. Our foundation has been in the e-commerce space. So we'll be doing a lot of different other things. It's going to be, my vision for this company is in the next 2 to 3 years, it will be the most valued acquisition company on planet Earth. Especially how we're expanding into the other countries and everything too, and we're getting big in the coaching industry as well now. And currently, our main focus is e-commerce. Reason being because of profit and our infrastructure and revenue. It's just, you can't beat it. We have the distribution, we have the warehouses, we have a company called Impro Solution that has an office in China. So we have people in there. So whenever we have to import, export from any country, we have the right suppliers, we have the right logistics out of it too. So all the stuff really matters. So our biggest thing when you're talking about e-commerce, a lot of people ask me that too. Why would I invest with you guys? Like, I was in Nashville, I was talking to two ladies, and they said, well, how can you assure that, my investors are going to be happy? And I said, you're not going to meet anybody else that has this strong of an infrastructure, And then the other, any business stems to one thing goes in infrastructure. The second thing is too, no matter how good your infrastructure is, you as a business owner needs to understand that the infrastructure is never bulletproof. You always need to improve and do things faster, no matter what happens. Same thing when I had the GNC as well. I had a really good solid team. My team was so good that they can grab literally one product without even looking at it, give it to the customer, and then every single ingredient on that panel, every single ingredient, like citrulline, how many grams of citrulline, the salt, every single thing. And that's what I was telling Reggie too. And even my company, that's one of the principles that I have, that even my cleaner that comes to the office should know what your company stands for and what products to sell. That's how easy it should be, right? Again, it stems down to that when it comes to e-commerce, it's all about infrastructure. And over the 6 years, we just keep improving the infrastructure to the point where we have our own private servers, like the distribution and the logistics. We have our own contracts with big brand, Procter & Gamble and stuff like that. So it comes with big infrastructure to the point where we've built a team of acquisition team. And it's 12 people in an office, and all they are looking at is numbers and companies that are on sale, brands that are on sale. Just this month alone, we bought 22 brands so far. And my goal is by the end of the month to buy 50 in total just this month, So we're about to hit the highest this month. So next month, my goal is again to do another 50. You see what I'm trying to say? So I have I have a team of just people with infrastructure of all the algorithms that I've built of these are the kind of companies that we're looking, just boom, 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 boom. You don't even have to ask me, just buy them. And they're just buying them. And we're just flipping them.
So, Amrinder, break that down. Like, what do you mean when you say you guys are buying 20, 40, 50 companies? Like, what does that mean?
So these are e-commerce brands. Either they've been in the Amazon business, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Shopify, and they're private label brands, whatever it is. And they've been in the business for 2 to about 5 years. The number one problem with those brands is, one, they don't have enough capital, team, or infrastructure. So we have the capital, we have the team, and we have the infrastructure. We acquire the brand from them, put in our algorithm and everything, and we just explode them from there. I mean, some of the sheets I've shown them to Reggie of we buy them, bam, next month, they're doing 20, 30K profit where they haven't even done 20, 30K in a year revenue, Wow. And it's just about one, infrastructure, the team, and then the capital. Simple.
Okay, so small sellers across these different platforms. Well,
yeah, I guess we've bought some multi-million-dollar companies too.
Okay,
we're getting into the more apps and SaaS businesses since AI is growing. So we're trying to go into more of the AI sector. I'm partnering up with this one individual that I met with in Cabo, and phenomenal dude, big AI guy. I'm talking about like he's the G of AI, right? And I'm going to go talk to him about some AI stuff that I want to do and see if he can help us on that project. And so it'll be cool. It'll be more on the Renji kind of knows about this on the taxation accounting part, but then also the coaching side of it too, on the business coaching side. Yeah,
awesome. And so break down, we've talked about, you've kind of mentioned how you have investors and how people can invest with you. So let's go into that and start talking about that. What different opportunities or ways do you offer somebody to invest with you? And what does that look like? What kind of returns can they expect and so on?
Very simple. I mean, we have one model that we started this year. It's called the 5% model. So whatever capital that you put in, minimum investment of $10,000, right? You'll be receiving 5% per month. So 60% of the end of the year, and then your principal, you can receive it back, or or you can reinvest or add more money, whatever you like. We use that capital to buy inventory to grow our current stores that we have. We have almost about 600 something stores now, right? And then so it helps us both in both ways. And then our second model is if you want to get the bigger bucks, like how we do, because any of our stores are averaging at any about 25% to about 45% net margins, right? On per brand. So that basically, if you want to be part of that big game and you want to play long term with us, it's an equity deal. And then that equity deal, it pays you on a quarterly basis on the profits that are accumulated, depending on how much capital that you put in. And there's a minimum investment on that, but it's a longer term play and everything. And just like our whole goal is just like how we acquired these brands, a couple of years later, when we get to the point where we're on the tipping point, like we can sell the brand too for multi-millions as well. Yeah. And then the other investment opportunities that we will be sharing pretty soon is in January, we will be opening a real estate company. So we will be buying massive multi-family homes, like minimum of 100 doors to 1,000 doors. So a lot of our 600 investors, they're excited about that because they're helping with the tax advantages and all that kind of stuff, because you're making a lot of money over here with the e-commerce side of us. And then how can we increase that to create more generational wealth, but also have the tax advantage as well. So we're working on that. And then a lot of different projects around the world. Philippines and Dubai will be opening up that in January as well. We've been in that project for almost about 2 years, I would say. But and my infrastructure wasn't built to the point where I can comfortably be like, hey, Reggie, you want to invest in the Philippines? And be like, yeah, his money's going to be safe. I'd rather take the loss first before I recommend anything to Reggie. Again, it's about relationships. And if I screw one person over, it's a trickle down effect. There will be a lot of different opportunities coming along the way. And then if you're following the bus, you'll be seeing a lot of crazy things happening big time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're taking the hit up front and trying things out, and whatever's working, you're bringing it to your investors pretty much. Which is
and the other thing powerful. Is too, I bet on. Yeah, and the other thing is too, I bet on myself, and so far every time I've bet, I've never lost, and I never give up. So I always just find solutions, and it's always worked. But I'm not going to recommend anything to anybody that I know I haven't trialed and tested and perfected to the point. Yeah. It's never going to be perfected because you always want to improve it, but if Reggie comes in and he puts in 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, I got to make sure that it is bulletproof no matter what, to the point where he can get an ROI. Yes, an ROI, give or take, look like this, but at least he's making an ROI, not like take your money and then, oh shit, we had to close because XYZ. Does that make sense? Yeah. Again, it just has to do with what we talked about earlier is infrastructure is the biggest thing when it comes to business.
And I know you hit on this a little bit, but what makes these e-commerce stores a sustainable and profitable business?
Well, it's easy. We're playing with the big players. Amazon.com, Walmart.com, eBay.com, Etsy.com, Shopify stores. So we're just not selling on one platform. We're selling on multiple platforms like TikTok shops too. And not only that, but once we acquire the brand, we're not just selling in the US, we're selling in Mexico, Canada, UK, all the other countries that like Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Etsy allows us to sell. And then the other thing is too, we're not just selling private label brands. As we're growing those brands that we're acquiring, we're adding essential brands that everyone uses, like Kleenex, Clorox, Windex, diapers, all these kind of different things. So it's not just like one specific product. I hate doing clothing because every single size is different. Like my large is going to fit different large than you, right? So we don't do that. The other thing is I hate doing food items because there's a shelf life. So we don't work with shelf life. You see how analytical we are on the products as well too. Yes, there's a lot of people that will say, oh man, this gum, this energy drink is going to sell like hotcakes. Yeah, but God forbid, if it doesn't sell and it expires, what are you going to do then? You just lost a couple pallets, Yeah. So you have to be very analytical. And then you got to see what's a seasonal product, non-seasonal product, and then how much of the seasonal product you should buy. How does the non-seasonal product you should buy? All these different little analytics that matter big time. So it's not one of those things where we're acquiring the brand and we're selling iPhone 16 Pro Max phone cases that every other one is selling out there.
Yeah. I remember one of the things you said that made so much sense to me. You said we sell boring products that people need every day.
Exactly, bro. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And you'll be surprised how many toilet papers we sell sometimes too.
I'm sure.
Boring products. Like Cody Sanchez, he says it all the time. Boring businesses are the most profitable. She loves buying boring businesses, and I love selling boring products. So I play with both. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, so there's obviously countless investment opportunities that are out there, right? And skepticism is common. especially given that the financial industry only offers, maybe 8 to 12% rates of returns, like the S&P 500 over time, right? So like, what would you say to somebody if they're hearing that they can earn 5% monthly or 60% for the year? Like, what would you say to them about like how this is even possible? And I guess how this like differs from the financial industry and from the market as a whole?
Yeah. So all that capital that when you're investing in your 401k, IULs, IRAs and S&P 500 and everything, it's just going to the stocks. They already know that the most. So if you search up on Google, what's the most you can make in a year on stocks? Anywhere from 8 to I think 12% in a year, right? Am I telling you to invest in that? No. Number two, am I telling you to invest into real estate? Anyone knows too, real estate, the maximum ROI you can ever make in a year is about 8 to 10% max, right? So we're not doing that. We're doing it into businesses that are actually cash flowing from anywhere 20 to 45% per month net. So if I'm telling you that and I'm making this much and I'm just giving you this much, it's a win-win situation. Does that make sense? Now, if I came up to you and I say, hey, Kyle, I have this S&P 500, I'm going to give you 5% per month, give me $100,000. But you on the back of your head, or even you by your search in Google, you're like, how does this make sense if at the end of the year, he's only going to be making 8 to 10% and he's going to give me 5%? He needs to make at least 120% to even make 50% because he's going to give me 60% at the end of the year. Does that make sense? So you have to think about it like that. You got to think about it like a business, but not like a loan or trying to give it to like a CD or S&P 500 or 401k or anything like that. You have to put the fine line and look at it that way. That if these guys, they know they're going to make minimum of 15 to 20% and they give me 5%, they're still making 10%. No matter what, minimum.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then all they do is just the capital comes in the end of the month and we dump it back in and just recycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You've had consistent growth year over year. So you've talked about how infrastructure is a huge part, but what are some of the other reasons for your continued success? And why do you believe Kamboj Ventures will keep delivering consistent profits to investors?
It has to do with me, myself and my team. So one of the things is we're always looking to keep improving, finding new ways. We're always on the top trends no matter what happens, right? For an example, like TikTok Shop's huge. Why aren't we on TikTok Shop? Let's go. Like that, start studying and start going and all that kind of stuff. Number two is I'm just not dependent on the U.S. market. We're in 8 different countries. 9th country is USA. So you have to look at that too. So I'm giving opportunities to all these investors to do that, right? So it's not just USA. So, and then the third thing is my team. Again, my team is, they're coming up with ideas left and right. Hey, we should do this. We should, like the other day, one of my team members was like, dude, we're doing Dubai. We're doing phenomenal. And we should get into Saudi Arabia pretty soon too. I'm like, Saudi Arabia? You sure? He goes, yeah, dude, I got some friends and cousins over there. They're looking into e-commerce for Saudi Arabia. I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to give you a plane ticket, go there, travel, and go look at the market, do the research, and give me a report. You see how that is? It's just a never-ending thing. But if you stick to that one same thing that you've been doing for 20, 30 years, it's going to change. For an example, my dad, he has a gas station. He's had the gas station for almost 28 to 27 years. Okay? So it's a very long time. But he's doing the same thing that he did from the beginning when he first bought it 27 years ago up until now. How long do you think that's going to last? You have to adapt to today's market trends. AI, technology, all that kind of stuff. Like remodel. Even the simplest thing, you have to do that. So that's the difference things with us is we're always trying to keep up with the trends of what's changing, what's not working, and just keep tweaking every single day.
That's awesome. And now, like, what, as far as like Kamboj Ventures, are you guys like registered with the SEC, FTC, and or like what legal and like structural protections do you guys have in place to, protect your investors' capital? And what does that look like?
Yeah. So we are SEC compliant, but we also have a business insurance policy, which is over $250 million, completely insured for all of our investors. It does cost us a lot, but it's just one of the things that we have to get to ensure that you guys, all the investors are safe and everything. So God forbid if something happens, the chances are very slim. But if something were to happen, 1 or 2% chance as it does happen, we can utilize that. The second thing we can utilize that for the insurance too, since you guys are an insurance business, is we can always pull that money out from the insurance and actually acquire other things if needed to. Does that make sense? So it works both ways to protect our investors, but then as we're growing our investment portfolio, we can increase that 250 cap to 500 mil or whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah. And I was going to say, and these are like 12-month contracts, right? So they're locked in and guaranteed for 12 months. And then, like you said, they have the opportunity to reinvest, take their profits and run, or do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how do you see your business model developing over the next 3 to 5 years? Like, do you think you'll be able to maintain the current investor opportunity, or do you foresee exploring new avenues?
A little bit of both, a little bit of both. So the whole purpose of the 5% is to give people opportunities to gain trust with us. We had the equity model for a few years. And the 5% is like, oh shit, I can put 10K in there, you get 500 per month, which is 6,000. It's just very simple, easy math, right? Yep. So then what we've noticed has been 3 months, and Reggie knows this too. It's been 3 months. Majority of the time, 98% of the time, those clients that have already invested 10K, they come back with us 100K, 200K, 300K, because now they've built the trust, and that's what we wanted. We built the trust with the 5%, and then they can get into our equity model later. And then once we introduce the real estate, the trust is already built, the relationship's already built. They're in with us for life. So that's the whole entire purpose of the 5% model, because we know our models are working. We know everything's working, but when it comes to money, people take that very closely, which is crazy because we were just doing a podcast earlier. We were talking about sports betting. Sports betting in 2019 was only a $7 billion business. Now it's $14 billion since January of 2024. It's an amount of 3-4 years, right? But my question to you is, if you're doing sports betting, let me ask you this. What's the guarantee on that? What's the risk on that? 98% of the chance you're going to lose. When you go to Vegas and you're playing the casinos, you should play knowing that 99% or 100% of the times you will lose. But why are people betting all their money on the stake when they know? And it says that everywhere, house always wins, right? Why don't you become the house of your own life?
Yep.
Second, the next thing is like banks too. Banks have conditioned us to think that we need to have a house. They have conditioned us to think that we need 6 months of savings. I've never met one person that has ever told me this, that they've used their 6 months of savings ever in their life. If he has a home insurance, car insurance, and health insurance, you're perfectly fine, dude. So use that capital to dump it into something which keeps cash flowing and live off of that. So you got your time for money that you're working for. Use that to invest into something that cash flows. Live off the cash flow and keep rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Does that make sense? And that's how you're going to live free. Like, for an example, even my Rolls Royce too. That's how I got it. There's a business that I bought, which is cash flowing. It paid for my car's down payment, and then it's paying for my monthly payment. I'm living free. I don't have to worry about it. Does that make sense? It's not like I had to go work from 9 to 5 for freaking years, save every single damn penny just to get that car. And I've never met one person who has become a millionaire or billionaire just by saving every single penny, every single nickel, dime, and all that kind of stuff. That's why I'm not a big fan of Dave Ramsey. He tells people to be scared. Why? Learn how credit works. Learn how money works. Learn how taxation works. Very important things.
Yep. Absolutely. And now with that, Amrinder, I think we'll start to wind down, and I want to just pick your brain a little bit more on the business mindset, entrepreneur side. But and I'm just curious because you're doing really well, right? But what motivates you to keep going, both personally, professionally, and what are some of your biggest goals and aspirations, and why are they so important to you?
Okay, so some of the things that do motivate me, one was back in 2022 on November 1st, my dad got a heart attack. Okay, so we're doing well and everything, we're growing, and then but not to the rate that I wanted to. Okay, well. Back then, I didn't think about it like that. But my dad, I always wanted to get my dad proud. So basically, he came from India, built everything and stuff like that. So for me, it's like building that, respect that name and becoming wealthy. It's kind of like, thank you, Dad, for giving us the opportunity. Okay. So then November 1st up until November 26th, he was in ICU. He had a massive heart attack, basically almost died 2 times. Right. I had a phone call. And I remember, when he came back December 7th, I still remember the time. It was like 7:31 p.m. It was my dad, my son on the couch. They're playing and everything. I just remember looking at him and I was like, Dad, no matter what the hell happens before you die, just give me 5 freaking years. After that, you can die. I don't give a shit. I'm going to put that last name that you have all over the freaking world and have a jet with your name on it. So that's one of the things that drives me is my dad. The second thing that drives me is my son. Okay. So as far as a father, and I've said this to Renji too, it's not what you leave to them, it's what you leave in them. So I'm showing him that if I can do it, your grandpa can do it, right? You can do it too. So I'm teaching, he's only 4 years old, but I teach him, I spoil him, but I teach him that all this right here is for daddy and mommy. That's it. Everything else, I'm going to give it away. I already have a foundation that we've created as Kamboj Foundation. It's already registered and everything. And my goal is to help out other kids. So that's the second thing is showing my son that anything is freaking possible if you're in the right room with the right circles and the right people. Okay. The third thing is before I die, I want to help out 100,000 freaking family homes being wealthy, healthier, and financially free. Because when I was in 2018, when I was looking for a different outlet, I didn't have nowhere to go. Nobody was there holding my hand, supporting me or anything like that. So I'm trying to be that person, supporting people, just giving them an opportunity. Now, we all know too, some people, they just need a freaking opportunity and they can flourish, right? So I'm trying to find those right people who are looking for opportunities. And then so that 100,000 families before I die, that's what I want is when I'm dead is how many people, nobody thinks about this, but how many people are at your funeral? It's up to you. 5, 6, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. And the other thing is once I die, I want people to come up to my son, be like, hey, today, your dad helped me become who I am today. Whatever you need in your life, let me know. I got you. That's more powerful than me leaving dollars to him. Those connections. Like Reggie's kids, they're going to connect together. They're going to be friends. They're going to be brothers, right? They're going to do massive shit together. Kyle, I don't know if you have kids or not. If you do in the future,
not yet.
They're going to be in that circle together, changing lives, building, and all that kind of stuff. You know, so that's one of the things that gets me. The fourth thing is before I die, I want to create education for kids in other countries that don't have opportunities, that are living in slums in India, South India, Africa, Asia, Philippines, and all that kind of stuff. There's so much talent in the world, but because they don't have the infrastructure or the means to get education, they cannot get ahead. So they can't break the cycle. Does that make sense? So I want to help them get the education, English, math, learn money, learn negotiation, learn all this kind of stuff so they can get an opportunity and break that cycle and create a brand new thing. So it's either they work for us or we help them get a job. Simple as that. Those are my things. And then the biggest thing that really drives me is the people who believe in me, like Reggie, that's what drives me the most is that they're believing in me. So I got to make sure whatever the freaking shit happens, like I'm able to promise every single thing that I promised them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So those are some of the key players. It's not just like me, my family, myself, but it's more about the people who's trusted me are propelling us. We're going there together,
So powerful, bro. When you talked about your son and the funeral and how that just made me emotional because I thought about that too. It's like, what are people going to come up to my kids and say, your dad was this kind of guy? Yeah, that's bro. So powerful. That's so powerful. So I know you've talked so much about mentorship. For our viewers, how important is mentorship in your journey, and what advice would you give someone that's looking to find the right mentor?
It's huge, man. You can't do life, you can't do business without mentorship. Again, it's like I said, like when your dad or whoever was there holding your hand, walking you, to school, walking you to the park, showing you how to drive that bicycle, or when our dads taught us how to drive a car. That's mentorship, right? Yeah. But you have to be very careful of who your mentor is as well, too. Sometimes we think the mentor that we have might be the right mentor, but then I always ask everyone so this is the key ingredient to find out if you have the right mentor or not. One, they will never ever ask for one penny. If they care about you, they want you to succeed, they will never ever ask for one penny. Number two is the lifestyle that you want to live. Are they living that lifestyle? Does that make sense? Number three, are they doing the things that you want to do? For an example, me growing up, I had a friend of mine. I would always ask him business questions, but I was an idiot. He's never ran a business in his life. Why the hell would I ask him? Of course, he's going to be on bias. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not going to ask a 300-pound guy for fitness advice and have him as a mentor if he looks 300 pounds. Does that make sense? Right? Like for an example, like Reggie or Kyle, both of you guys won't ask about financial advice or how to get ahead in life if that guy is not living the lifestyle, right? Now, you guys are looking up to me because I'm living that lifestyle, correct? Right? So you got to be very picky on who you choose. Second thing is before you start looking at your mentors, before you start looking at who you want to follow, who is in your circle, I'm very picky of who is in my circle. I drink, right? But I drink and I'm very selective who I drink with. Very selective. Okay? So if I'm drinking with you, trust me, you know that I trust you. If I'm not drinking with you, you know I don't trust you. And I do that on purpose. That goes back to standards. right? You have to know your standards of what you stand for and where you want your life to go. Then go find that mentor and see what he stands for. Because there has been people in my life that I'm standing for something else, but they're standing for something else. They're all about the money and X, Y, Z and stuff like that. Why would he be my mentor? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, but mentorship is huge, man. It's just like a cheat code trying to get you there. Sometimes you have to pay the mentors, but that's how, like, for an example, Patrick David. I spent half $500,000 with him and everything, right? But now he knows me and he values me. And he's just going to open a much doors. What I'm trying to say is not even about the $500,000. It's about he knows I'm serious. Mm-hmm. Right? Does that make sense? So even if you don't have the capital and you know that's the right mentor and he's going to guide you the right way, go get a damn credit card. Just trust yourself and go. I'm telling you, take the damn risk. It's going to be fine. But you have to make sure the mentor is worth it.
And you recently, I think we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. You recently hosted the Domination Conference, right? That's the name of it? Okay. Correct. So you hosted the Domination Conference in Cabo, where it had a bunch of high-profile entrepreneurs. I saw people that I followed that were there, and I didn't even know that they were going to be there. So I thought that was pretty cool. What was like the inspiration behind the event, and like what were some of your key takeaways, and how did it go? Because that's your first event too, right?
Correct. It was our first event, and we had 300 powerful people in there. I don't know how we got those 300 amazing people. I mean, the testimonials will be posted pretty soon. So far, I haven't heard anything bad. I don't know how we perfected it to that being my first event, But then going back to your question, basically, I was just looking to create an event where I can have couple hundred powerful people in this one Pacific spot where we can just talk about business, not just me on stage talking about my business, my experience and all that kind of stuff. But it was fun because we had mics and I wanted to hear from everyone. Right. So I would ask questions, they would ask questions, and then we would ask somebody else questions. We would ask somebody. So somebody else would chime. So it's kind of like a group thing going on. Because now here's the thing, Kyle, I don't know everything. Right. But if we're in an environment and there's freaking 100 different industries, I'm going to learn something from somebody, right? Nobody knows everything in the world, but we have to share the knowledge to get ahead, right? So there's a lot of different things that we did in there, purposely group studies and all that kind of stuff, so we can learn more. Granted, yeah, I'm doing great, but you can't stop learning. So that's the whole purpose. If you go to all these conferences and everything, but our thing was different. It's more like, yes, here's a bulletproof plan where these are the topics we will talk about, but I want to learn from you too. And you get to learn from us, but you get to learn from everyone, every single one in the room. And we encourage everyone to network. And we're connecting people left and right. And that was one of the biggest key thing that everyone was so thankful about, was that we created environments where they've made connections. And even I just got back from Nashville yesterday, and even Amy, one of our new partners, she even said, she goes, one thing I loved what you did at Cabo was that we've made the most connections, and I've been to so many networking events, and I've never made these many connections, to the point where there were powerful, genuine people, genuine connections. So that's what I wanted. At the end of the day, we did not sell one thing at the conference, and that was my main goal. That you go to all these conferences at the end of the day, hey, buy my thing for $20,000 today.
It's all a big sales pitch.
Yeah, big sales pitch. Not one pitch was made. And I said that too in the beginning. If you guys have of my guys that are working there, right? And if they pitch you one thing, you tell me they're booking their flight and they're fired. I did not want to pitch one thing because I went to so many conferences and always pitch. The only thing that we did there was just build relationships. Again, relationships equals contracts or contacts.
Yeah, I love that. And you had some pretty big names there. I think it was Bradley, Andy Elliott, Jay Cavern. What was it like collaborating with these industry leaders?
Oh, amazing, man! They're all humble. They all aligned with my what I stand for, what I wanted. So they were perfect. Emily, Jake, powerful couple, amazing, humble people. Bradley is just like a boy, the homeboy. I can literally FaceTime right now. He'll pick up like, "What's up, bro?" He's probably at his office at his rooftop, just probably smoking a cigar right now. Andy Elliott's probably right now training, working out legs or something. But just cool people. I remember going to Andy's office, just warm welcome hugs from everybody, hugging you, welcome home, and all that kind of stuff. So it's intimidating seeing them on Instagram and everything. And then, but when you meet them in person, again, you just have to realize they're just people. Yeah. Even me too. I'm just a person. Approach me. We're just people. Even Bradley said the same thing. He goes, dude, I've been to so many airports. Like, oh, dude, Bradley, you're so famous. Can I get an autograph picture? And he's like, dude, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude that's made money, and I'm teaching other people, and I guess I'm famous on Instagram, but here's my wife, here's my kids. And he's like, I'm just a dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know,
and that's what I like is like when you get famous and everything too, no matter what happens, you got to keep humble. But if you're not humble, no matter what it is, like, just get out of my way, dude. That ego is not going to last too long,
Yeah. 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 When you have the ego, you're not willing to learn or change. So that's when it falls apart pretty much. Right?
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah.
So what can we expect from future Domination conferences, and where will your next one be, and why should business owners want to be there?
So our next one will be in Miami in October at the Turnberry Hotel, JW Marriott Turnberry Hotel. And we're expecting to have 3,000 to 5,000 people there. Same thing. It will be a great conference where we talk about business, but it's not one of those things where it's just like, oh, we're just going to talk about business, motivate you and all that kind of stuff. No. We're giving you an actual booklet with 300 pages in there, and we will all be collaborating with one of our industries and everything. And then we're creating different apps and communities and different spaces where you can collaborate depending on the industry and all together as well. So it'll be a big case study, big networking thing, masterminds going on. It'll be fun. It'll be a 3-4 day event, but it'll be badass. Just like how I did Cabo, now I'm trying to figure out how I can do that be even bigger and better in Miami, which is more pressure on me, but I like that shit. I like the challenge. That's what keeps me going. So it'll be fun. And then along the way, we'll be doing every quarter some massive masterminds of about 200 people, limited, like expensive tickets. But one of these, it's very detailed to the T. Talking about market penetration, talking about marketing, sales, leadership, HR, what expect in HR and what revenue stream and everything, like very detailed stuff. How to find the right leadership. What is your CRM software? What CRM software are you telling me? How's your flow? Like every single thing, how to tie AI into that. To the point where you can take that blueprint, go to your business, and if you don't see the increase, like, dude, you're doing something wrong. Like that detailed work, like email scripts, AI scripts, every single thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love it. That's awesome. Now, I think we got like 3 more questions for you.
Sure.
The 2 are going to kind of be bundled here together, but what is the worst advice you've ever received? Putting you on the spot.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
So we're putting you on the spot.
Worst advice I've ever spent. Oh, it can be done. Number 1, it can be done. So let me give you a little story. One time I was trying to do this one project, and we were trying to figure this one thing out. I called my lawyer. Hey man, this is what I'm trying to do. X, Y, Z, blah blah. He said, "You're crazy. It can't be done." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, it's impossible. You can't be done." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not paying you hundreds of $1,000s a year on retainer just for you to tell me it can't be done. Just because you haven't figured it out, and you haven't even freaking researched it, and you just already tell me no, it can't be done. Nah, dude." And I told him, you have 24 hours to find a solution. If not, dude, I can find a lawyer like this. Somebody will find me a solution. So don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. 6 hours later, calls me. He's like, I got it all figured out. And you have a contract in 2 days. Just give me 2 days. Done. The number 1 quote that I love is, you can't fail if you don't quit. You only fail when you quit, right? But if you keep going and you're looking for the solution all the damn time, you can't fail no matter what. Here's the thing. You're going to fail like 10 times, but the 11th time is going to be the right time and you're going to go. So stop. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in one day. Yeah, it's built over time and stuff like that. So just go, and just focus on solution. So that's how I operate too. Whenever I have a problem, what's the solution? Problem, solution. There's always a solution, no matter what happens. There's always a damn solution. So just focus on the damn solution. Yeah.
That's funny because the next question was going to be, what was your best advice you ever got? So I think you kind of covered.
You gave it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Amrinder, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us, bro. What advice would you give an aspiring business owner looking to create a path that's similar to yours?
Partner up with the right team, man. To be honest with you, number 1, have the right standards, goals, vision, value. Get to know yourself first. Number 1 thing is you have to know yourself before you get into anything. Relationships, friends. We talk to. So the biggest thing I do is like we talk to people all the time, but we never get to talk to ourselves. So before you go to bed, just close your eyes for 10, 15 minutes. Just talk to yourself. How you feeling? How you doing? You doing okay? Can I help you with anything? Talk to yourself. Why the hell can we not talk to ourselves? You got to get to know yourself internally before you start doing other things. So number one, get to know yourself. Number two would be get to know your standards, because once you know your standards, you know what you stand for and the people that you want around. That's the biggest thing. And the third thing is try to find 5 people that you can have in a circle that you can count on no matter what. Right? And then what I'm trying to say is imagine that you're on a board meeting table, right? And then that board meeting table, the door closes, that conversation just stays in that door, nobody else knows about it. As soon as the door closes, nobody else says, until that door opens again, they're in that room. I'm telling you, that's a big key. You got to have 5 people in your life that you can call 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., any single time, to the point where like you can trust them with your kids type of a thing. And they can trust you with your kids. They have to be 5 people in your circle that need to do that. You know, the fourth thing is too, whenever you're building an organization, is there's a quote, when you're making an omelet, right? You can have 10 eggs. It only takes 1 egg to ruin the whole omelet, right? A rotten egg. Be very careful of negative people. Very careful of negative people. So always look for positive people, positive, genuine people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great advice. I think before we fully wrap up, do you have some time to take us to like behind the scenes, the warehouse, and show our audience like some of the brands or products and stuff like that?
Yeah, let me send you a video instead.
Yo, Reggie, the other day you asked me about some of the products we sell, brother. We got night repair. We got some lotion, shampoos, power wash, diapers, baby wipes, toothpaste. Who doesn't know Sensodyne? Aqua Fresh. What else we got? Fans, industrialized fans. We got hairspray. We got everything, man. Everything. Fish oils, literally everything, man. Toys, bunch of stuff, dude. Bunch of stuff. Big name brands, baby.
Yeah. Brother, thank you so much for being here. I know you are a busy guy, and we're so thankful that you spent some time this hour with us. And I think this is such value for our viewers and for us, you know. So we're excited to get this out there for others to see. Kyle, do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't, other than if you guys made it to the end of this video and you haven't yet, make sure to go like the video below, drop your comments or questions in the chat below as well. Amrinder, man, thank you so much for jumping on here. I do actually have one last thing. Where can our followers and our viewers find you on social media so that they can go follow you and watch your journey as it continues?
Yeah, it's Amrinder, AMRINDERX Pro on Instagram. Follow me on there. We're good to go.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sounds good. And if you guys have any questions, absolutely. Thank you. And to the viewers, if you guys have any questions about like the different investment opportunities or getting into business, reach out to me and Renji, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Is that okay?
We'll put a link in the video description. That way you guys can have a conversation with us.
Perfect.
Sounds good. We'll put that below, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Cool. Thank you guys. Take care.